9, with less than 48 hours to go before the International Court of Justice decides on the future of Kulbhushan Jadhav. NewsX has continued to break news story after news story from the ground at The Hague. Now we understand that 2 to 3 live past precedents will be used by the Indian side to make their case. One, La Grande case, US versus Germany, and the Vienna case, US versus Mexico, along with some others, where the guilty country of the two parties, of course, the ICJ held the nation guilty of contravention of the VCCR, of the Vienna Rule, of the Vienna Convention. We understand since it was 16 times that Pakistan refused consular access, India is going to hammer down and push the pedal on the point that despite whatever Pakistan says or alleges are the crimes of Kulbhushan Jadhav, it does not give Pakistan the right to deny consular access. That's something we've been telling our viewers, and it does also help India's case. In all the precedents that I've cited right now, the ICJ held the country is guilty of contravention of VCCR. That's our topic for today. Tonight on The Nation at 9, we'll get you the developments first, then we come back with the big questions and the panel. Take a look at this.
Not only the one case, as you mentioned, it's going to be at least 3 different cases, and I was speaking to the officials of the Registrar of the International Court of Justice and some of the staff members of the President of the Court, and what they told me off record, obviously they are not ready to comment until the case is completely heard and the verdict is out. The 3 cases of 1998, one is of Paraguay versus USA, that's also known as the Briard case. This is of April 1998, and the second case is of Germany versus USA. As you rightly pointed out, this is also known as the La Grande case of March 1999, and the third one is of 2003, of January 2003, Mexico versus USA, known as the Vienna and others case. Now, going by the history of all 3 cases, the Indian government's position is much more stronger as compared to the Pakistan government's position for the Monday hearing. These are the 3 cases which are going to set platform for the precedents, rather, for the Monday hearing, and these are the 3 exact cases which ICJ has heard in recent past as far as the Vienna Convention violations and the death penalty cases are concerned.
All right, big questions tonight on The Nation at 9. The first one is fairly obvious. Do precedents in such cases give India an upper hand as far as Kulbhushan Jadhav case is concerned? Question number 2 right now on your screen, The Nation at 9. Will Pakistan still risk losing face just to spite India? Remember, there's always danger of that because of the testy relationship the two countries enjoy. Question number 3 tonight on The Nation at 9. Should Jadhav's safety trump all other considerations? And to me, this is the most important question tonight. And our last question on The Nation at 9, can India drive home the obvious advantage that we seem to have currently in the case? Joining us tonight will be Pinak Chakraborty. He's a diplomat, as well as Brahma Chalani will be joining us, strategic affairs expert. Arsalan Bhatti joins us from Pakistan. He's a senior journalist in that country. And Geeta, Luthra, senior lawyer, completes the panel. Thank you all for being with us. Brahma Chalani, if you can hear me right now, let me just quickly go through what we know as of now. It's fairly common by now, fairly common knowledge, that there are precedents in similar cases. You could always quote the Vienna case, US versus Mexico, and the La Grande case, US versus Germany. Now, in both these cases, the ICJ held the other country guilty of contravention because they denied consular access. Can Brahma Chalani hear me right now? All right, he's not passed through right now, so let me just direct my question to Geeta Luthra first. Geeta Luthra, if you can hear me, in all these precedents that I've cited right now, it was made very clear to countries by the ICJ in the past that despite the magnitude of so-called crimes in this particular case, no country has the right to refuse consular access. Exactly what Pakistan has done, exactly what India has based our appeal on. We're not talking about bilaterals, we're not talking about anything else but the denial of consular access. Does that put India on firmer footing than Pakistan in the case? Geeta Luthra. All right, we don't have Geeta Luthra. I can see that right now, unfortunately. Let's go across to Mr. Chakraborty then first, before I come back to my studio guests as well. Mr. Chakraborty, I don't want to repeat my question here, but clearly the precedents do put India at an advantage, rather, than compared to Pakistan.
Well, when the arguments are heard, I think we will know which are the precedents that they will quote, which side will quote what precedents. But as you know, there are a lot of reservations already put in by many countries, including India and Pakistan. And Pakistan will naturally argue. I think the first point they will argue is that the ICJ does not have jurisdiction in such a case, which may or may not be upheld, because India invoked actually the article which under the Vienna Convention on Consular Relations and the additional protocol. So I don't know really which way the arguments will go, but the bottom line is that even if the ICJ upholds the Indian position, then Pakistan would at best be obliged to provide consular access. But that doesn't prevent Pakistan from carrying out what it says is was a trial by the court, etc., and on the various charges that they have been leveled. And even going ahead with the execution, which is of course is what.
No, I'm glad you're saying that, because that's a note of caution, Mr. Chakraborty. I'm glad you've sounded that note of caution right now, because there is no guarantee that Pakistan first of all will adhere to whatever the ICJ verdict is, whatever it might be. I don't want to second guess the ICJ here, but that note of caution I've also been sounding privately and on air. But we seem to be rather focused on how better the case India can handle right now. And I'm glad you sounded out that note of caution. Brahmachalani, a similar question to you. What Mr. Chakraborty is saying, no matter what the verdict really is at the ICJ, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, the topmost consideration for India should always be the safety of Mr. Jadhav, because there is no guarantee that Pakistan will first of all adhere by what the ICJ says, or even if the case goes against Pakistan, they won't just go ahead with the execution just to spite India, despite the fact they will lose face internationally if they do that. Brahmachalani, your reading of the situation.
You're right. India doesn't know whether Mr. Jadhav is alive or dead. There's no guarantee that he is alive. What the ICJ case would do is to get evidence from Pakistan. Whether Mr. Jadhav is alive, whether it will be granted consular access to him. As far as Pakistan is concerned, is going to question the jurisdiction of the ICJ. There's no doubt about that. But on Monday, the ICJ will be examining only another issue, whether it should issue any provisional measures in the interim. So the narrow issue of provisional measures will not be faced by Pakistan questioning jurisdiction of the ICJ. The bigger issue is that Pakistan is a rogue state, and whatever decision the ICJ might make, Pakistan may not.
Yes.
And the ICJ has enforcement mechanism.
Okay, Brahmachalani, there seems to be a slight issue with your audio. I'll try and rectify that if I can while sitting here in the studio. Let me also go across to General K.K. Sinha joining us right now. General Retired K.K. Sinha, first off, the note of caution that Mr. Chakraborty sounded. And, of course, I added to it that there is no guarantee. No matter what the verdict of the ICJ is, no matter what the ICJ says, it will go pro-India against Pakistan, there is no guarantee with a state like Pakistan, first off, that they will only, not only execute Mr. Jadhav anyway, but also they'll do it just to spite India for no other reason.
Athar, you are right. See, there is no guarantee with Pakistan, a rogue state. Whether, a favorable, again, verdict comes on 15th, or the Pakistan carries on in spite of that it is coming in the favor of India and carry out the execution. But remember, India has to fight his case very well, and there is a two-front. One thing you said, that in the Vienna Convention, we have gone 16 times consular, access we want, and they have refused. That's a very, very strong point.
Yeah.
One point which the country probably, I think, at the level of ground level, people must be working. We must understand that the verdict has been given by Field General Court Martial. It is a kangaroo court of Pakistan. It is not from the land of the law has given this verdict. This is the India, the people who are fighting this case must understand and challenge.
I'm sure they are aware of the holes in the theory of Pakistan, because it's not a civilian court, first of all. It's a military court, like you mentioned.
Athar, there is no war. You feel General Court Martial takes place in Second World War. Is the India any time has given a verdict like this by a court martial of a Pakistani in India by a field court martial?
But then again,
in spite of that fact, we are in low intensity conflict zone.
Then again, India is a democracy. I'm not too sure about Pakistan being a
But
democracy.
Pakistan by proxy is in democracy.
All right, okay. Arsalan Bhatti joins us as well from Pakistan. Arsalan Bhatti, clearly the precedents of similar cases in the past have clearly mentioned the one point that no nation, despite the magnitude of alleged crimes here, I mean, look at the Vienna case. There were 54 Mexicans arrested. All 54 of them were sentenced to death in the US. The ICJ ruled against the US. They executed them anyway. That's besides the point. The point is they held the US guilty, ICJ did, way back, of denying consular access, and that is in direct contravention of the Vienna Convention. Is Pakistan willing to risk it?
Number one, Pakistan was and never be a rogue state. Number two, the general was saying, or your army man was saying that it is a kangaroo court. It is not a kangaroo court. It is military court. Very, very senior court, but under the command of our President of Pakistan. Number three, you were asking consular access for the 16 times. Whether a terrorist is given a consular access in India, my question is to the people who was on the panel. Number three, jurisdiction of ICJ was very much in Pakistan. Pakistan is signatory to Vienna Convention.
Kasab
but
came in
Pakistan
and shot
is
people
not,
on camera. He was given a lawyer and a civilian trial. So please don't turn around and accuse India of the same what Pakistan is doing. We follow the rule of the law.
Who was given a consular access?
No, I'm talking about a civilian trial. In the case of Ajmal Kasab, he was given an appointed lawyer. A civilian court tried him.
All right. Sorry, I didn't heard that. Then you were quoting a case of Mexicans. I am just saying that are the Mexicans who were tried in 57 Mexican citizens, are they terrorists? No, they are not terrorists. This case is a different nature. This case is a very much different nature to an ordinary case. Mr. Yadav has committed a crime against the very state of Pakistan, which is existed or formed in 14th of August 1947. What your people say was that doesn't matter. I clearly mentioned you that
Will Pakistan adhere to the verdict, first off? No, before I come to the technicalities and the legalities of the case, will the Pakistan side adhere to whatever the ICJ says whenever the verdict is out?
No.
Why not?
No. I'm coming to that point. Pakistan always obey the verdict or decisions or letters of International Court of the International Court of Justice if it was not against any terrorist. This is one thing. If the case of Mr. Yadav was tried in an ordinary court, he might be given access, but when his case was not confined to a civil court of Pakistan, he has the right, still has the two rights of appealing mercy
but you've been
petition.
saying this
You are
on
not
my
talking,
show
nobody was
for the
talking
last
about.
week, sir. Again, I request you, okay, fine. Even if I take your answer, which is a stock answer right now, I want to go to the legalities of it, and I want to touch upon the exclusives that we've got from the Hague. Geeta Luthra joins us again on the debate. Geeta, I hope you can hear me at this point. Now, the precedents that I quoted right now are very clear, not just the judgments of the ICJ in these particular cases, which the takeaway really is, no matter what the alleged crimes, I put the stress on the word alleged crimes on Mr. Jadhav is, according to the Vienna Convention, no matter what the crime is, no country can deny consular access. And Pakistan has done so 16 times. Doesn't that make India's case slightly more solid than Pakistan's?
I think so. I think there's going to be a lot of world pressure if the ICJ rules in favor of India. It's clearly, I think, what precedents seem to be there, and quoting their Article 36, which says that consular access cannot be denied, I think we have a very good case on that point. Now, with regard to the balance of it with regard to execution, because just getting access is not going to be enough for India. We want to see that he can be saved and that this trial or this allegation of espionage also goes away. So this is just a first step which we may succeed, but we also need to go further than that.
No, clearly we do, and I just want to stick to this particular issue here, given the fact, Geeta, given the fact that the precedents might perhaps be in India's favor, there is still no guarantee that Pakistan will adhere to whatever the ICJ is, assuming that it goes for India and anti-Pakistan. The fact still is Pakistan is refusing to admit that this is a case that comes under the ICJ jurisdiction. In fact, we ran a story yesterday in which we told our viewers that on the 29th of last month, Pakistan revised its commitment to the ICJ, carefully keeping out securities, matters related to national security out of the jurisdiction of the ICJ. So they've somehow sort of legally gerrymandered it, the pitch, according to their own convenience. Is that going to harm India's case somehow, legally?
So I think that will be the second step. First, you want consular access. That I don't think they can deny under any circumstances. Then you go to the other aspect where they are alleging espionage, and we are saying that there is no case of espionage. It is in that they can possibly take a defense. As far as consular access is concerned, I don't think that they have any case except for enforceability if you have to go to the Security Council and if there is a member who has a veto power and exercises that veto power in Pakistan's favor. Now, I think world opinion itself will bring a pressure on Pakistan if ICJ gives a verdict that India cannot be denied consular access.
Okay.
But then you come to the second step, as you said, let's take it step by step.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. Let me go back to Brahma Chalani if I could. Brahma Chalani, very clearly, it's not just the precedents we should be talking about right now. We should also be looking at the big picture, and the big picture clearly is, as I mentioned in my opening remarks, is ultimately the safety of Mr. Jadhav, of which there are no guarantees. Do you think Pakistan will risk losing face if the ICJ finds them guilty of contravention of Vienna Convention just to spite India anyway? Because as it is, they've already started shifting the goalpost on engagement with the ICJ or jurisdiction of the ICJ as well, and the kind of jurisdiction it enjoys over Pakistan and member countries as well.
Well, I don't know whether you can hear me.
I can, go ahead.
Can you hear me okay now?
Yes, please go ahead.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, please go ahead, Brahma.
Well, in the bigger picture, ICJ can resolve the disputes between India and Pakistan, which are political in nature. But as far as Mr. Yadav is concerned, at the moment, we do not know whether he is alive, and ICJ route will be able to establish whether Pakistan is willing to admit that he is alive, and if so, whether the ICJ will provide any kind of interim relief against his execution. That would be an important diplomatic victory for India. Ultimately, this case is not going to fundamentally resolve anything between India and Pakistan. India will have to deal with Pakistan politically, militarily, and diplomatically. But the ICJ is an important tool to spotlight Pakistan's British conduct.
All right. General Sinha, would like to add something to that, given the fact that we have sounded off a note of caution on what Pakistan might or might not do. But just having precedents on our side is not going to guarantee Jadhav's safety, is it?
You are correct. You are dealing with a rogue state. In spite of that favorable verdict by ICJ, if the Pakistan chooses to execute Yadav, what you can do? You can't do much. But you take it, this is my gut feeling, that if the verdict comes and we fight the thing properly, probably the verdict is going to come in our favor. And Pakistan will be under tremendous pressure not to carry out the execution. I think the best way we can do it as on today. Mind you, we had three options. Three option was there. We would have referred to their president of Pakistan. One option. Second option was there to go to the civil court of Pakistan and plead it. And third option was to go to ICJ, which we have gone. Why we have gone? I'm very sure the people who are working on the ground and the people who are decision makers, they have given a thought on it. Because the chances of getting a positive verdict, everyone is sounding very cautious. Because in national, when we are hearing at national level, but I am very, very optimistic. And I have dealt a little bit in an international scenario as a team leader in Liberia when we were dealing with a John Teller, who was one of the terrorist leader in this area in Africa. So I have got a little bit handling at that level. And I mind you, ICJ, the people are absolutely fair. They will certainly go if we fight our case properly.
All right, and we do have the best legal minds representing us. That, of course, has been taken care of the government there. Mr. Chakraborty is back with us. Mr. Chakraborty, talking on the policy level, and I think we should look at hard truths very, very fearlessly, and we shouldn't really be chest thumping already, because there's a long way to go. This is just the beginning of the legal fight. This is going to be a protracted legal battle, because the other side, of course, is also well prepared. It's known for its cunningness as well. Do you believe that this is just the first step, and it could go either way, even though we are on firmer footing? Pakistan is, of course, known to look for loopholes and exploit them. And I think we've lost Mr. Chakraborty as we speak as well. Unfortunately, technology is not on my side tonight. But we will start wrapping this up. I'll start with closing comments, if I could. Geeta, Luthra, what is the outlook? Harish Salve is representing the Indian side. He, of course, has had a very intense briefing with the registrar, after which the letter was shot off to the Prime Minister of Pakistan. And with Mr. Salve at the helm, we can rest assured that all legal angles are being looked into, all possible loopholes, all possible precedents, and India and the Indian side will be represented fully and admirably.
Yes, I'm sure Mr. Salve will do a brilliant job. And all said and done, I think we do have the law as well as, in a sense, a moral ground in our favor. So law coupled with the fact that there is, we are making a case which can't be denied, then the only question is the lack of sanctions in international law. And that's where international law does fail to some extent. So the moral sanctions, and hopefully the Security Council will not exercise its veto power in favor of Pakistan, and we get a verdict in our favor, then there is no veto power exercised in favor of Pakistan and against India. The entire moral pressure, the world pressure and world opinion is bound to make Pakistan sit up.
All right.
And hopefully they will rethink and relook at this, send it to one of their civil courts or their constitutional courts and say, okay, let's look at it again.
All right. Let me give you a hypothetical, Arsalan Bhatti, because I'm going to start wrapping this up.
I hope that the entire...
Yes. No, I just want to give a hypothetical to Arsalan Bhatti. Mr. Bhatti, in case, this is a hypothetical right now. Like I said, I don't want to second guess the ICJ. And can you hear me, Mr. Bhatti? There seem to be a lot of technical issues today, unfortunately, but Mr. Pinak Chakraborty is back with us. And Mr. Chakraborty, before we got cut off with each other, I was in the process of asking you a question, and I'm going to try again, technology permitting. The question, of course, is that nobody really can predict what's going to happen at the ICJ because both sides are fighting the case there. Pakistan, of course, believes it has enough to fight the case with as well. But do you think that a long, protracted legal battle is what India should be prepared for, no matter and despite the fact that precedents go in our favor?
You know, I don't think the battle will be very long and protracted, because I think the issue that we have taken up is of consular jurisdiction.
Just of consular access, absolutely, yes.
From consular access. But the other issue is of actually the charges, the alleged charges and the conviction. Now, on one issue like that, this has been decided by a military court. Now, this is something that it's not normal, does not normally happen. But Pakistan itself has set up a lot of military courts under a law so that they can try their own terrorists and kill them. They have executed hundreds of them, I believe,
yeah,
after these kangaroo courts have convicted them. Now, if that is the background, then I think this court's decision will also have to be questioned as to whether this court is the proper forum for this kind of a case.
But currently,
fact,
India is
was
not
it
harping on that.
Currently,
India has restricted itself to consular access.
Later thing. That's a later thing.
Yeah.
That is a later thing, and another issue will be that even if whatever the verdict, there is always an issue with these permanent court of justice, permanent court of arbitration, international court of justice, as to who will implement. Now, the implementation mechanism is that it goes to the Security Council. And Security Council, you know, Pakistan's friend China, how it has been blocking the designation of Azhar Masood as a terrorist, for example. Then it has been blocking India's entry into the NSG. So I'm sure China might again think, look, Pakistan is too valuable a client state, so we'll have to protect its interests so that it can do what it wants under China's patronage. And that is the other aspect. China itself.
We got indications of that today.
China,
already,
as you know,
because the Chinese
South
Premier
China
is meeting
case,
Nawaz Sharif
where
today
the verdict went against China.
Yes, Nawaz Sharif is meeting the Chinese Premier as we speak.
No. I wanted to say that China's record is there for the world to see. The verdict of the permanent.
All right, we seem to have lost Mr. Chakraborty. I'll give the last word to General Sinha here, and then we'll wrap this up rather quickly. General Sinha, what are we hoping for come Monday?
Athar, we have to cross our finger. I think so that we are doing quite well, and I see, because ICJ have got my all positive thinking that we will get a victory there. The second point, the Pakistan agreeing or not, there the challenges are there with our own diplomats and our leadership. Now, mind you, Shanghai cooperations, where the Prime Minister, Nawaz Sharif, Chinese Prime, we are all meeting,
right,
very Kazakhstan on 7th, 8th of June. That is the time, probably, I think we have to work a lot to see that in that front also we get a victory.
All right, on that note, we'll end this debate. I thank you, General Sinha, for joining us, Brahmachalani, Mr. Chakraborty and Geeta Luthra for joining us. Remember, NewsX will be getting you up to date with reports coming in live from The Hague, and we will start our 24/7 coverage of the hearings from Monday morning. That's all we have for debate number 1 tonight. After I take